Double entry bookkeeping. It sounds complicated, right? But it's actually the most important accounting system used by businesses worldwide. Now stick around because I'm going to explain the basics, and when you know the basics, everything gets easier. So let's go and have a look at double entry bookkeeping. First of all, what is double entry bookkeeping? Well, double entry bookkeeping is a system where every financial transaction affects at least two accounts. Now, why is that? Well, the reason is because every transaction has got two sides. It's got a debit and a credit. And the key rule is that debits must equal credits. They always balance out. And if your debits and your credits don't balance out, something's wrong. If you're feeling a little bit confused already, let me just break this down with a simple example. Let's imagine you buy office supplies for £500 and you pay with cash. Now that particular transaction affects two different accounts. On the one hand, you've got an increase in the value of office supplies. Now that's an asset. And so you own more supplies to the value of £500. And so you debit office supplies with £500. But on the other side, your cash has gone down. So your cash, which is itself an asset, has gone down by 500. So you credit that particular asset by 500. So you've got a debit of one asset, office supplies, and you've got a credit of the other, cash, and they both balance out. Now let's dig a little bit deeper. Basically, double entry bookkeeping is built around what's known as the accounting equation. And if you don't know what the accounting equation is, don't worry, I'm going to explain it. The accounting equation is assets, which is things that you own, are equal to liabilities, which is things that you owe, plus equity, which is the amount of money that's left over to give to the owners of the business. So assets equals liabilities plus equity. So every transaction that you record should keep that equation balanced. So for example, if you take out a loan for £1,000, you debit £1,000 to cash. So you've got an increase in assets, what you own. You now own £1,000, so you've got a debit to assets, but that balances out because then you have a credit of £1,000 to a loan, which basically means you now owe £1,000. So you've got £1,000 in cash, but you owe that money back to the bank. So you have a debit on one asset, and then you have a credit on one liability. Making sense so far? Let's go a little bit further. Let's imagine that now you pay back £200 worth of that loan. Well, what happens in the accounting equation? Well, what happens basically is you now don't owe as much money anymore. So liabilities are going down. The liabilities are going down by £200, which means you have got a debit of £200 on the loan liability. But on the other side, you now have £200 less cash because you've paid that cash back. So you've got a £200 credit on the cash asset. Now, if you're still feeling a little bit confused, it might be because you're going wrong in a few different ways. Here are some ways where people often go wrong with double entry bookkeeping. One of those is to mix up debits and credits, just get them the wrong way around by mistake. Another one is forgetting to balance both sides. And another one is not realizing what things go up with debits and what things go down with debits, and what things go up with credits, and what things go down with credits. And the problem very often is we think in terms of debit and credit cards. But actually, that's not a very helpful way of thinking about debits and credits in accounting. So here's a quick tip. Assets and expenses go up with debits and go down with credits. However, liability, equity, and revenue go up with credits and go down with debits. If you can remember that, that will help you a lot when it comes to double entry bookkeeping. Now, why does double entry bookkeeping matter? Well, it matters because it gives you accurate financial records. It can help you to detect errors because if you've got an imbalance between credits and debits, you've probably gone wrong somewhere. It can also prevent fraud because it shows you where things are missing if there's an imbalance, and it can ensure that your books always balance out. And so if you're serious about accounting or running a business, you need to understand double entry bookkeeping. So take what you've got in this video and maybe go away and see if you can think through another few examples to get used to debits and credits and making sure they balance. So that's double entry bookkeeping explained in a simple way. I hope you found that helpful, and if there are any other things to do with accounting that you would like simple explanations for, let me know in the comments. And make sure to like and subscribe for more content.